Our next term is time, which means honor. And one way to think of this is to remember that Greek history, Greek written history, as we understand it, begins with one event, one particular event, happened in 776 BC, and that was the first Olympics. The Greeks measured their history in terms of Olympiads, in terms of spans of time between particular athletic competitions, not the reign of King so and so or the dynasty of Pharaoh such and such, but instead the Olympiad period that marked the time between the particular competitions. The Olympics is a good example of the concept of time, because the Olympics basically was a time when the Greeks theoretically put aside all of the political differences between the various city-states, put aside their wars, and got together for an athletic competition to see who was the best at particular activities. Start off with just a race, and then other things were added along the way until it became a pretty involved series of athletic events. And the whole notion was to see who was the best. Competition, the Greeks believed, what brought out the best in all human activities. If you take anything and turn it into a competition, the Greeks believed that made that thing better. They turned everything into a contest. They, as we'll see when we get to the next module and talk about Greek tragedy, they even turned plays into a contest. Way before the Oscars, way before the Tonys, the Greeks were into the whole notion that you would get better art, that you would get better plays for people to go see if you made the playwrights compete against one another. The primary result of the competition, or what people hoped for in entering the competition, was to find time, that is, to find honor, to find reputation, to be recognized by their peers, to be recognized by the public at large. The Greeks were a very social culture, so the notion that we might have today of, well, yeah, say I'm a good guitar player, but I don't want to play in public, I just want to sit on my porch and play the guitar, and just be good at it and be pleased with myself in terms of my own accomplishments. The Greeks would have found that idea to be basically a little screwy and the first step towards madness. For them, everyone existed in connection with the other members of society, and the only way to know who's best at something, and the only way to know who to recognize who the best baker is, or who the best runner is, or who the best soldier, or who the best archer was, is to have a competition. And the result of that competition is that you would win respect. You would win time. Your reputation would be enhanced by that. And of course, the corollary of that is also true, that if you didn't win, your reputation would suffer. Now, we tend to think of the word honor mostly in the sense of like a particular code, that I have a code of honor that governs my behavior. We think of it in terms of the military. We think of it in terms of the code that police officers live by. Well, again, for the Greeks, just as the case with arete, those things aren't opposed to one another. Those things go together. That the honor that you show in the way you conduct yourself in your profession and the way you strive to be best at whatever you're doing is also reflected then in your reputation. It would have been impossible for someone to sit back and say, well, I'm the best guitar player, if you didn't go out in public and prove that and demonstrate that, and to have people recognize your particular talent in that area.